ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ 1BC ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਧਰਤਾ ਨੇ ਡੈਲਿਸ ਬਰੋਡੀ ਮਿਸ ਡੈਲਿਸ ਬਰੋਡੀ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ MLA ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਮਿਸ ਬਰੋਡੀ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਫॉर ਜੁਆਇਨਿੰਗ ਐਟ ਦਿਸ ਆਵਰ
Good morning, and thank you for having me on.
Things are going very strange in BC and BC's politics, especially. Mr. John Rustard has been, caught in a hot soup. How do you see that?
Well, I think what we're witnessing is the unraveling of the Conservative Party of British Columbia. This has been going on for some time, but the problems that are on the inside of that party are now spilling completely out into the open. Mm-hmm. The seeds of this discontent were started at the very beginning when they pulled the caucus together. It was too broad a tent. It was doomed from the beginning. And now we're just seeing what's happening. The party can't hold together. And we'll just have to watch this roll out over the next little while and see what happens.
Are you interested in having some of the party members from BC Conservative? I mean, are you looking for those opportunities?
Yes, we would be interested in having some of them join us. We always have an open door. We'd be there. We have some requirements of our candidates. If they come over here, we need brave and principled people with integrity who will always speak truth to the public of BC. And so courage and principle are extremely important in this party over at 1BC.
And how do you see the future of 1BC? I mean, I know I met you a couple of times and you are very bold in taking the subjects which people might find controversial, like the immigration system right now, and you are very open in that case as well. And some of your team members as well, they are saying to suspend the immigration into British Columbia.
Yes, that's true. We have to discuss the issues that are on people's minds instead of pretending that we can hide from issues that people are talking about in their homes and with their friends. This concern about mass immigration into British Columbia is spread across all groups. Everyone's concerned about the overloading of our infrastructure systems. We have hospitals, community centers. Another big one that's hit hard is our schools. And when you have such an influx of people all at once, it disrupts the local community that's just trying to get by itself. We already have very significant economic problems in British Columbia, and bringing in people en masse like this is really upsetting the balance in British Columbia, and we need to make sure we bring in people at a pace that our system can digest. We can't just flood things in and then expect everything to go well. And I don't know why other parties are unwilling to discuss this. When it's polled nationally, it's one of the biggest issues on people's minds in Canada. Mm-hmm. People want to talk about it, and I don't know why. We should talk about it. It's a very important topic, and we need to talk about it openly. And so I think we need to have a vigorous debate about it, all of us in British Columbia. How much is too much? How much do we want? Do we want people who are here illegally to stay here? If you're here illegally, you should have to leave. If you've overstayed your visa, you need to go home now. When I studied in the United States when I was young, once my student visa was up, I had to go. When I went and studied in Paris for a while, I had to leave at the end of my student time. That's the way it goes. I don't know why this is even controversial.
But sometimes people think that all the focus is on the people with the color only when the immigration or the when people target the immigration culture here.
That's absolutely not true. There are people of color who also don't like the immigration pace. Mm-hmm. This is not an issue that affects only certain groups of British Columbia. It affects all of us. Mm-hmm. That's why we call ourselves 1BC. We are all here. Mm-hmm. The people who live here love British Columbia. All the people who are here are working, running their hotels, their restaurants, their businesses, their tiling company, or their whatever. They all are concerned about the economy. This is about being British Columbia, not being part of this group or that group. Everybody's worried about where things are going. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with the color of the people coming. It wouldn't matter where they were coming from. If it's too many, too fast. Mm-hmm. And it's affecting our ability to enjoy our own systems that we've created here. People want to be able to go to the hospital and get in, and right now they can sit there for up to 14 hours. That's insane. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not even healthcare.
Miss
And,
Brody.
and part of it is the
Yeah.
pressure being brought on by too many people coming suddenly all at once, and and availing themselves of the systems that we've got here that the taxpayers are paying for, and then when they go to access them, they find that there's no room for them. We just need to discuss it in the open, and that's okay to do that.
Miss Brody, where do you see the future of 1BC when we have so many challenges in British Columbia? How do you ensure your voters or the British Columbians that your party have that spark to, give them a hope?
We give them a hope because we're talking about the issues that are literally on people's minds. The economy is in a free fall right now, and we are saying we believe that there is prosperity ahead for everyone in British Columbia. There is absolutely no reason for this province to be suffering the way it is. We have a landmass bigger than California, Oregon, and Washington put together, and we should be just having abundance. And we're always being told that there's scarcity, and now we're being told there's not enough energy. Well, then build some dams. Let's get going. We can do this, but we have some problems in terms of attracting capital to BC because we've strangled our resource industries to death with Indigenous consultations and environmental consultations that are far too long. It takes, about 2 years to bring a mine to development in Chile. Here, it takes between 12 and 15 years. Who is an investor would prefer to go here than there? These are structural problems we have, and we've done it to ourselves. There's absolutely no reason for this. And so if we have 1BC would liberate the economy, bring an end to all of this overdone consultation, and get the province back in gear. And also we would do things like reduce the taxation in this province. One of the biggest problems we're having is people have no disposable income to spend after they've paid their taxes, and we're killing people with this. Our first move would be to reduce British Columbia taxation for anybody making under $100,000 by 50%. And then anybody making over 100,000, including corporations, we would reduce their taxation by 25%. And my goal would be to continue to reduce taxation because I firmly believe that people can spend their money more wisely than the government can spend it for them. And I see this in Victoria. The waste is incredible. The size of government is out of control. And we need to get back to the people governing themselves and not the government bossing them around, controlling them, forcing them to do things. It's too much. The government needs to get off our backs and release the economy, and that's what we would like to do. It's a big dream, but we can do it.
Ms. Brody, when you're talking about the accountability of the government, right now, the chaos which we are seeing in BC Conservative, do you find it concerning that we are, as a British Columbian, lacking of opposition in our parliament or in our, I should say, BC legislative?
Yes, I do. It's very concerning. And I feel 1BC, we only have 2 members in the legislature, but we're punching above our weight. We are actually asking the questions that may feel unpopular and scary sometimes. We are asking the questions and having the courage to do the work that the BC Conservatives were supposed to do. Truthfully, the work that Tara Armstrong and I are doing is what we signed up to do when we first joined the BC Conservatives and ran for that party. I don't know. That party lost its way so badly. It's terribly damaging to our government system because they should be firing on all cylinders, but they're not because they're so busy with the problems internally. And I don't know how they're going to get through that. But I see the only choice is to continue to build 1BC, try and get some more of the Conservatives to come over to us. And in the meantime, we are recruiting fantastic new candidates who will have the courage and the principle to put British Columbians first and not just worry about their own jobs and their own paychecks. The Conservative Party is failing in its job, and part of the reason, by the way, that they're failing to do their job as opposition is that they brought people into that party who actually should have been running for the NDP. They brought in people who are not Conservatives. I don't know what they were thinking when they did this, but it was really shocking when we first all came together as a caucus to find that we had basically NDPers in our party. They're not Conservatives at all.
Ms. Brody, when you said that we are punching right now above our, approach, I hope you're not going to take the approach of elbows up approach of Mark Carney. But
no.
Ms. Brody,
up I find that policy very bad. Our biggest trading partner and our greatest ally is the United States of America. And regardless of who's in office down there, always the best route is to go down and talk to them and say, what do we need to do? We need your business. We need your help. But calling the President of the United States names and constantly saying he's the root of all our problems, that is a really, really reckless move, and it gets us nowhere. It might feel good in the moment to say, oh, orange man bad, we don't like him, but that's not going to do well for our negotiation position. Would you like to negotiate with someone who's called you names all day?
Miss Brody, I have my co-host, Miss Ginny Sims, with me. She wants to ask a question, and go ahead, Ginny ji.
Yes, please.
Thank you for joining us this morning. One of the major requirements for the big projects to proceed, especially when we're looking at mines and exploration of our north, is consent and consultation with the First Nations, not consent.
Yes.
So how would you and your 1BC approach that it would be any different than the federal or provincial governments now? Because that's a requirement.
Well, what we would do is immediately repeal DRIPA, which is probably the biggest problem we have in this province right now. DRIPA is the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act, which essentially imported a UN document called UNDRIP, the UN Declaration on Indigenous Peoples, right into our province. No other province has done this. And it was bad enough before the consultations that were dragging on for years with First Nations. Now it's even worse. And it has literally ground our economy to a halt. We would say this has to end.
So with all respect, I'd like you to expand on this a bit for me.
Yes.
Before DRIPA was signed, it was taking even longer. We know under Gordon Campbell how long the consultations would take place because there was no framework. So this existed long before DRIPA. So how would you actually do work differently with the First Nations to do the consultation in a timely manner?
Part of it would be to ensure that the First Nations understand that they are actually hurting themselves by doing this, and also saying that we can't have 4% of the population running our country. And actually, it's less than 4%. It's the chiefs and councils of those bands, so it's like 0.0001% of the population controlling everything, and they're unaccountable to the taxpayers of British Columbia. That dynamic has to stop, and we've essentially just allowed ourselves to be out-negotiated and, in essence, bullied into this position through the years due to politicians who are unwilling to put their foot down and say, no, you're not doing this. We couldn't have built the Canadian National Railway with this approach. We have to stand firm for the rest of British Columbia and say this isn't going to work. And like a child, sometimes you have to be told, no, we're not negotiating on those terms, and it's not going to work for the rest of BC. So negotiation means that everybody in the room understands that both people have things at risk. And that way you reach a proper agreement. But when one person just gets to say, I want this, and if you don't give it to me, I'm leaving, I want this, but they have no skin in the game, actually, like people who invest in businesses have money that they're putting in to build something. So they're taking a risk that they may lose it all. The other partner has to also have skin in the game, that if there's a loss, they have to take that loss as well. And it's that dynamic where both parties risk losing if it goes south that makes people more accountable for their decision-making in negotiations. That piece is missing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I don't know but I don't know. But, I feel like that you have a negotiation skills like Mr. Donald Trump.
Well, I would say that I am a businesswoman, and I do know that if you have no skin in the game, you will not behave responsibly or ethically, really, about how you're treating your business partner. I mean, you have to be, both of you have things on the line. You can't just say, I want the mine coming through my land, and in order for me to even let you come in, I want, say, I want $200 million. Okay. Okay, so we pay that. Then you start the mine, and then, we want a little bit more money this year, and we want more, and we want 50% of whatever flows through that pipeline or comes out of that mine. Well, what if the mine doesn't work out? Does the band have to participate in the losses, or do they just get to participate on the upside? That's it. That's an asymmetry. We can't have that anymore. It needs to be, if you want part of it, you have to share in the losses and the development. You have to put your own money in the game and share in the development of that mine if you're going to share in the profits.
Right.
That's one way of correcting this. The other thing is to say simply you are not going to stop the resource development of this province. And that could lead to some very difficult situations, but I think that has to happen because the road we're on right now, I know it was all done with good intentions. I believe that people along the way thought they were doing the right thing, but look where we're at. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and there has to be a massive course correction on this. And I think a lot of actual Aboriginal people who just live there in these places would agree. It's not the average person who's making these decisions. It's people at the top who are sitting there, and the whole industry that's benefiting from this. Remember, the money also goes to consultants and lawyers are making a fortune off of all of this. So we would defund all of the voluntary payments that are currently being made to First Nations. It would stop immediately because there's no need for that. Any voluntary transfers of land and power would stop. We would repeal DRIPA, and we would require that we would demand that the federal government implement a constitutional change to get rid of Section 35 of the Constitution of Canada. That was the act that was passed back in 1982.
That's really a strong statement, Ms. Brody. And I wish you all the very best, and to your party. Thank you so much for all your time. We would love to invite you to our studios for a detailed conversation on these matters for the benefit of British Columbians.
I would be honored to join you, and thank you very much for asking me to come on today. I really appreciate it. I
All
really
right.
do.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brody.
Good luck. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Same to you. Bye.